Hey, it's your girl Optimistic K, and I want to welcome you to episode 1 of the That's What She Said podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of embracing your light and valuing your legacy. So, since it's episode 1, I wanted to take the time to formally introduce myself. My name is Katrina Williams, and I am from Fort Worth, Texas, Southside to be exact. I'm an entrepreneur, life coach, mentor, and author, and I really love to see other people win. My whole mission in life is to help others realize their potential and capitalize on their opportunities. So, throughout this podcast, you'll get to pick up on some gems. You'll hear some things from me, some motivation, inspiration, or you'll hear other people on my podcast talking about great things as well. But we keeps it real on That's What She Said. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode 1. Y'all, let's go. Okay, so I know that it's hard out here to try to figure out what's next in life, what we're supposed to be doing, and really everybody's trying to figure out how to tap into their purpose and their vision and really live a very fulfilled life. I personally struggled with this at the beginning of 2012 because, oftentimes we run away from what our actual destiny is. We run away from it because it's either a little scary, or you've been down that road and you failed, or you're afraid of failure. And oftentimes we just don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with it, and we don't want to fail. So we just, coast through our life. And I know that that's something that a lot of our youth does as well. Like, the younger generation is not into trying new stuff too much. They want to just do what everybody else is doing, or they don't want to start their own lane. They just want to follow behind other people. So honestly, I want to talk about the importance of embracing your light and being open to change and open to whatever God has for you, because the moment you let go of trying to manipulate your situation, the better your life will go and the more fluid it will flow. Like, I had to learn this the hard way. So that's why I'm on here talking to y'all about it, because the more you resist, the more God is going to be like, okay, eventually I'm not going to take no for an answer. And that's the last thing you want. It's for God to demand your attention. So, because God has a sense of humor. He uses all kind of ways to get your attention, and you don't want that. So the importance of embracing your light is real, y'all. Like, it's a scary process because you are jumping out there on a limb and just don't know what's going to happen. But when you really think about it, life is like that. The more you live life, you realize you're not controlling nothing. You really just floating through life, and things are happening and you just adjust. That's really what's happening in life. Like, you adjust to whatever is going on. So I personally had to realize that, although I went to college, I got these degrees and all those good things, I wasn't meant to be an employee. I wasn't meant to be working for other people. And I struggled with it for a little bit because I just really wanted to get a job straight out of college and make money so that I can build this little nest or this little parachute, this little parachute package. But God had other plans for my life. Like, my vision was basically to graduate, get a job, work for about 2 or 3 years, stack some money, and then start my businesses. But ultimately, it didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out, because God made me go a different route. I was avoiding starting my business at first. I just wanted to, do it like what society told me to do, like really just build myself up and build my money up first so that I can have a nest, but God wanted me to jump. So after applying for hundreds and hundreds of jobs and being denied and not getting any callbacks, and I do mean I didn't get not a one callback, I realized that there was nothing more I needed to do. Like, when it came to applying for jobs, I needed to go ahead and leap. I needed to go ahead and step into my light and embrace my light. So I decided to really make 2017 all about being focused and intentional. And I've been speaking this word over my life that 2017 is the year of elevation for all of us. I really truly believe that, but it requires us all to step into our light and not be afraid of the outcome. A lot of times we let fear have way too much power over our lives. Like, there's no reason a word, and it's literally just a word. There's no reason why a word should make us feel like we can't do what we've been put here to do. Self-doubt is a product of fear. Um, Gossiping is a product of fear. Let's see what else. Um, just being uh lazy is a product of fear because you're afraid of your true potential. I've been there before. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been there before. But we have to understand that God is trying to tell you that everything that you need, everything that you could possibly want, lies within your spirit. And He placed the light inside of your spirit. So you have to look inward to find out what your true vision is. You have to look inward to really figure out what your light is telling you to do. You have to look inward. But first, and most importantly, you have to seek God's light first. Now, I know a lot of us shy away from that because we know that that requires responsibility, that requires action, that requires a number of things of us to be dedicated. We have to be dedicated when we choose to step up and say, I'm going to seek God's light first. But honestly, that's the very thing that you need to be doing in order to figure out what your true purpose is. He reveals it through your losses and your failures. Honestly, that's how you become great. That's how you become who you're supposed to be when you do trial and error. Like, how are you going to ever learn if you don't try? I feel like this is the perfect time to go ahead and jump into our Music That Motivates Song of the Week. The artist is Big Sean and the song is The Light. I feel like this song right here really embodies everything that we all have felt at some point. We've all had that time where we felt like we weren't doing well. We weren't really like being productive. Ultimately, we had to do some soul searching to figure out what was going on and how to overcome this feeling. And Big Sean's first verse in the song just tells us everything, or tells me everything that I need to know. It really reiterates that God placed everything within us that we needed from Jump Street. Like, we don't need anything that's material. We don't need anything from the world because God equipped us with everything that we needed, and our destination is predetermined. So we don't have to worry about pleasing others. We have to worry about seeking Him and pleasing Him first. So the verse that I'm speaking of is the very first verse of the song. He said, I spent my whole life trying to improvise. I'm not saying that shit for you to sympathize. Spent my whole life trying to find what's at the end of the tunnel. I should have realized it was inside. That whole verse just tells me that our light is so important. Like, knowing what you are and who you are inside matters. If you don't have that vision of who you can be and what you're supposed to be, your life is going to be filled with emptiness, and like, you're not going to ever feel like you can fulfill that void. So my whole point of talking to y'all about this today is to remind you of who you are and to remind you that God gave you everything you needed. You just have to take the time to spend some time with yourself and spend some time with Him so that you can get the revelation and understand what you're supposed to do with your life. As I listened to the song, it made me think about how much of a false reality we live in. We have all these different setbacks and things like that really hold us back, like our family history, racism, financial burdens, daily struggles, stuff like that, that kind of feed into our self-doubt and perpetuates the act of like not being productive and not wanting to do more because we feel like we can't. I feel like we gauge our self-worth on our current circumstances, and this song just reminded me of that. It reminded me of how at times, our dreams are very non-existent. They don't feel like they're tangible, or we don't even dream anymore. It's like our imagination is drowned by all of the stuff that's going on. And this song really made me feel this, and it was like a full picture, like movie in my head when I first heard the song. It made me feel that much emotion, and that's why I made it the motivational. I mean, the song that motivates this week, because I feel like Big Sean was painting a picture for us. He wanted us to know that no matter what's going on, what your circumstances look like, no matter who you are, God placed the light inside of you. He placed the light inside of him. He placed the light inside of all of us. And the moment that you tap into it and realize that that light has been there all along, you're going to feel like, dang, I wish I would have just, looked inward versus looking at everything that was going on outside and trying to figure out how to get to where that person is going. I should have been focusing on me. The next verse is, so lately I've been trying to get what's inside outside. Now, I feel like that verse is trying to remind us that God exposes us to our gifts often. We may not act on it immediately, but God exposes us to our gifts, but we kind of like either turn away from it, run from it, or we don't believe that we actually deserve this greatness, like the greatness that he's trying to give us. But I think in that verse that Big Sean was trying to show us that, it's important that we share our gifts with the world. It's actually our duty to share our gifts with the world. And I feel like this next verse is like a direct reflection of why it's important for us to embrace our light and really show the world our light. So Big Sean says, got the whole city on fire. Boy, this the flow that got Steph Curry inspired. This the flow that got LeBron James finna rewire. This the flow that got the whole family finna retire. With this verse, I really feel like Big Sean was trying to paint the picture for us to remind us that when we embrace our light, we ignite a torch that inspires others, and it encourages them to embrace their light as well. I know that we have a duty and a responsibility to share our gifts with the world, and we lead by example. So to me, we encourage each other to dream big. We encourage each other to take action. So that's why it's so important for us to really take on whatever God is telling us to take on. It's going to be greatness. And the last line of that verse really reminds me of, when you do step into your light and you operate in your purpose, the money will come. I think that Big Sean really wanted us to understand that no matter what your family has been through, no matter what type of generational curses you may have, you can always overcome your circumstances. You use like your downfalls or your setbacks as motivation. I think a lot of times we allow disappointment to have too much power. Instead of looking at all of those disappointing situations as something bad, look at it for whatever light is in it. Like, for an example, how he used that last line, he said, I took the cards that they gave me and played the Donald Trump card. That line is very, very monumental to me. That's a major key. Everything that happens to you is for a purpose. Everything that happens is meant to teach you a lesson or, get you to a point where you're ready to jump. Honestly, everything that we go through grooms us for our purpose. The small things that we used to worry about, once you've gone through a few things, it starts to become obsolete to you. You don't really care about it because you know what your ultimate purpose is, and you know that as long as you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want to do. And that's what I took from that last verse. Like, I really believe that although we may not like Donald Trump, the things that he's done in this election shouldn't make you upset. It should inspire you to be at your best. It should inspire you to be super on your stuff right now. Like, everybody should be on their shit right now. If this man can be president, you can do whatever you want to do. The one thing that really inspired me this year, and y'all gonna be like, what? Yeah, she tripping, yo. Like, the one thing that really inspired me this year is watching Donald Trump become president. Now, I don't call him president because he's not my president, but honestly, seeing him become president inspired me so much because I'm like, for one, the man didn't have any qualifications. For two, like, everybody, a lot of people were against him. All the odds were stacked against him. Number three, he basically drafted his own or created his own lane, basically. He's not really a Republican. He's not really a Democrat. He's not a liberal. He's just like him, right? So the fact that he was able to put his mind to something and really achieve it forced me to be like, clearly, society thinks that I don't have what it takes to do what I'm supposed to do. The odds are stacked against me as well. And, also, I like to blaze my own trail, and we all do. Most of us do. If he can be president, I can achieve every single thing I set out to do. Now, I don't agree with him being president. Let's not get that twisted. But the fact that it happened and we watched this happen right in front of us lets me know that the mind is a powerful thing. Like, the minute you put something in your head and you just stay focused on the prize, like, and push forward and do the work, there's no way you won't win. Even if you don't get that tangible prize that you think you want, you're going to win mentally because your confidence is going to skyrocket. You're going to gain so much insight and knowledge from your experience. And then you'll be able to do it bigger and better the next time around. So honestly, seeing him become president changed my whole outlook on 2017. I'm a beast in these streets this year. Like, I'm not taking no for an answer, and neither should you. Honestly, we got this. Like, the moral of the whole story is we have to come together as one, and we have to support one another. And I think that will change the way, it'll change the way we move in these streets a little bit if we just really start realizing exactly who we are, and especially who we are in Christ. Like, when you understand who you truly are and the things that you already have built inside of you, there's no way you can't win, and there's no way you shouldn't feel empowered knowing who you are and where you came from. Like, so that brings me to my next point. Really, really valuing your legacy and the people who came before you and paved the way for you is very important. I really do love my family. I love my mother to death, my grandmother, everybody. They work so hard. They've been, these big stakeholders in my life since I was younger. My mom is a single parent. So, just watching them do what they do on a daily basis gave me so much inspiration as a kid and forced me to be the person I am today. But valuing your family and valuing the legacy you want to leave forces you to have a different mindset. I ask myself every morning, what do you want your legacy to be? And what are you willing to do to attain that goal? And when I ask myself that question every week and every day, I'm reminded that I want my legacy to be great. I want people to remember me as someone who was a support system for others, someone who inspired others, someone who, really, really lived a purposeful life. So that's why I move different and I do everything tailored to that legacy. I do everything that's going to put me in the right position to be or to reach that level of legacy. So, and also I feel like a lot of it came down in my bloodline. My mother, my grandmother, they both have this type of nurturing relationship and nurturing like personalities. Our whole family is very, very like set on being the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And I think that trickled down to me as well. And that's why I love my legacy and my family and my bloodline. Like, I feel like we have created this standard that we want to reach every time we do something. So that pushes me to be more, period. Like, so I encourage you to really take the time to sit down and talk to your family members, especially the elders in your family. Ask them about what they've been through. Ask them about how things used to be. And like, ask them how did they figure out what they wanted to do with their lives. That will also help you figure out your light and the things that you feel like you want to do. Personally, my grandmother and my mother are entrepreneurs, and they've been entrepreneurs for a long time. And I think it's so crazy that we're all entrepreneurs and how it just like naturally happened. I don't think that I really had a choice, kinda. I feel like God ordained it. My mom was an entrepreneur and my granny was too. But it always amazes me how you can have families full of doctors or families full of lawyers and things like that. And you ask them why they wanted to become this certain thing and they all have a different answer. That's why I wanted to interview my mother and my grandmother. I really wanted to hear all the stories and try to get some insight on what they went through when they started their entrepreneur journey. I think it's kind of crazy. Like my mom used to tell me stories about my grandma owning clubs and making moonshine and all that good stuff. And I just was really trying to be nosy so I can get the scoop. But I think it's very important to talk to those people that came before you, especially your family members, because they literally paved the way for you. And you can pick up some gems, man. I'm telling you, like talking to the elders and listening to their stories can really like enhance your journey as you travel. I really hope that you enjoyed the conversation we had today. If you have not listened to the new Big Sean album, check it out. It's called I Decided. And make sure you check out the song of the week, which is track number 1, The Light. That song inspired this entire conversation, and I really hope that it will inspire you all to step into your light, embrace it, and really show the world who you truly are. We need each other to encourage each other, and by lighting your torch, you're lighting the way for someone else. So until next time, y'all stay focused, keep grinding, and respect the process. I'm Optimistic K, and I will holler at y'all later.